Today, we're going to continue our look at the old school magic of Darwin Ortiz, and we're moving into another phase here. As you remember, we worked through the magic of At the Card Table, his first major book that he put out on the market. And the last couple of sessions we did were on Card Shark, which was another major book that he put out on the market. And then after that, or right in between, or right around the same time as Card Shark, was that book Strong Magic. And we were talking about how all of that technology was sort of informing his magic as he was working that out and working his magic. We're now in a phase of looking at Scams and Fantasies, which was another major collection. And you see that in my opinion, the work takes a major step forward, major step up, where you're just seeing that the presentations are they're a little bit tighter. They're a little bit more fantastical, more magical. And it's really, really great. So let's just take a look at this first clip and we'll talk about it on the other side.
All right.
My name is Darwin Ortiz, and for the next few minutes, I'd like to show you why you should never play cards with strangers. A technique that professional card and dice cheats use whenever they need some ready cash is what's known as a proposition bet. A proposition bet is a trick bet. A bet that it seems like I can't possibly win, when in fact, I can't possibly lose. I'll show you an example of a proposition bet that in a previous life I sometimes used when I wanted some easy money. I would walk into a bar, and if there happened to be a deck of cards lying around, as there often are in bars, I would pick it up and I would attempt a card trick. Only wouldn't work. So I would try another card trick, and it wouldn't work either. So just when they were convinced that I couldn't do anything with cards, I would say in apparent frustration, I'm so sure this next trick's going to work, I'm willing to bet on it. I'm going to ask someone to name a card. I'll ask you to name a card. Can I ask your name?
Amanda.
Amanda? Whatever card Amanda names, I will instantly trap it between the two red aces. She can name any card, and it will instantly materialize between the aces. Now, Amanda, if you didn't know who I was, would you take that bet? I mean, if you had a few drinks in you. Well, there were many who did. I'll show you what would happen then, because I am going to ask Amanda to name a card. Now, don't name a red ace because we need them. Don't name a joker because I don't have any in the deck. But Amanda can name any card in the deck. So I want you to think it over carefully, Amanda. You can even change your mind if you wish, but eventually settle on one card. You settle on a card?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Amanda, name the card.
4 of clubs.
The 4 of clubs. Now, I said that I would trap it between the two red aces, the ace of hearts and the ace of diamonds. Watch what happens if I just tap those aces on top of the deck. One card materialized. There's one card there. Yes, I wouldn't lie to you. What was the card that you named?
4 of clubs.
The 4 of...
That's going to leave a mark.
Talk about destroying someone's brain to start, right?
That's really gonna leave a mark. It really is.
It's really good. It's
That
really
is
good.
Brilliant effect.
Yes, man. Yeah. As far as sandwich tricks go, that's a pretty tough one to beat.
I mean, that's it. I mean, if you're doing that, there's no need to do any other ones.
I think that's it. I think that's
it.
He's established credibility right away, right?
Yeah, for sure, man.
Very good.
That's going to bother some people, I think.
And I think that's probably best. We leave it at that. Just let it be something that bothers you, that you can see what's possible with card magic. You remember last time we were looking at a trick that some folks sort of had some issues with, right? Because it was like there was too many things happening. It was like too long to get to the punchline. Specifically, we were watching Darwin Ortiz do something where he's reaching into a deck and he's got to show the deck and deal all the cards and show that the card's not really there. And, it was this trick that felt like it could have been improved a little bit, and this next clip we're going to watch, Darwin did improve it. We'll look at it. I don't want to tell you what the effect is yet in case you weren't here with us in the last session, but let's compare and contrast after this is over and talk about what's happened here, because this is pretty wonderful. Let's watch this next clip.
Your name?
Patty.
Patty, I'm going to ask you to help me in this one. Patty, I want you to shuffle the cards up. Shuffle any way that you want and shuffle as much as you want. Meanwhile, I'm going to empty out this pocket because that's going to be important later on. And whenever you're satisfied, you can put them down. What I'm going to ask Patty to do is to stop me as I riffle down the side of the deck. So I go down like that. You say stop whenever you want, all right? So stop me whenever you wish.
Stop.
Right there? Right there?
Right there.
All right, then, Patty, I want you to remember the 5 of diamonds. I want you to take this pen, write your initials in the center of the 5 of diamonds, and real large, so even the people in the back can see it easily. Okay, put the cap on the pen for me. That's important. Because in a moment, and you can see that that does not rub off. You can rub it if you wish. It does not rub off, right? Because in a moment, that 5 of diamonds is going to be important because in a moment, I'm going to place this deck of cards in my pocket. First, however, I want you to help me bury the 5 of diamonds in the deck. I want you, Patty, to push the card the rest of the way into the deck yourself. And I want you to shuffle the deck yourself. The card manipulation is, of course, not the only field that requires great hand speed. For example, gunslingers of the Old West obviously require tremendous hand speed. Try to find Patty's card the way a gunfighter might have. Because in a moment, I'm going to put the shuffle deck in my pocket. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to count to 3. When you do, I'm going to reach into my pocket, run through the entire shuffle deck card by card till I find Patty's card. I'm going to pull it out as fast as I can. So it'll be just like a spaghetti western. It'll be just like the good, the bad, and the ugly. You'll be the good, I'll be the bad, and Patty, you'll be astonished at how fast I can do this.
Good job.
Think I'm insane? So whenever you want. Count to 3.
One.
Yes, I'm talking to you. Hold it. Yes, you. You're going to count to 3, okay?
Yes. 1.
You're the good. I'm the bad. Michael's the ugly. Get this straight, okay? Michael Maxwell, remember him? Okay.
1, 2, 3.
I have to apologize. I usually do it faster, but I didn't get much sleep last night. Plus, because of the thoroughness of Patty's shuffle, I had to go through almost 2/3 of the deck to find Patty's card. Patty, do you remember what card you selected from the shuffle deck? Do you remember your initials? Do you remember?
Yeah.
What was it? What? No, what? But do you remember? The 5 of diamonds with Patty's initials right on it.
I like that a lot.
So he improved it, right? Remember the last time we saw this, he had the card selected. He has it put back in the deck. Then he has a sticker put over the seal that's initialed. And then he pulls the card out and instantly he puts it off to the side. Now he opens up the seal to go through all the cards, make sure there's not a signed one in there. And there's the card, right? He eliminated all the fluff. He got right to the bone, right? Cut it all down.
I mean, this is now a real workable trick.
Right. This is a showpiece.
You know what I mean?
It's a real showpiece now. And
I like the way he handled himself differently too. Like when we watched before, I mean, I please in no way mean any disrespect, but he was just kind of a little bit colder. You know what I mean? He just wasn't as engaging, just a little bit colder. And with this, it seemed like, he was just really into it and really felt like he was connecting with people and the trick had more punch to it. So it's just all around.
I think
so
that he's doing the same thing we're doing, right? He's reviewing the video.
Yeah.
From when I worked with Mike Maxwell for a lot of years, and Mike told me about Darwin that he influenced a lot of the other artists that were doing those instructional videos with him by just communicating with them and telling him his process. He was the first of those guys that really openly said, I spend a lot of time practicing my explanations. So I make sure I'm getting all the details, right? And like all the other guys started like, whoa, I probably should practice just doing the explanation, right? And those videos were being made. It just raised the bar. I think Darwin was watching himself as much as we were watching him, just even though we're doing it all these years later, looking back on it. From at the card table to Card Shark, got a little bit better, a little bit more engaging. I think from Card Shark to Scams and Fantasies, he softened those edges that we're talking about here, right? He was aware of those things. He was aware that he was probably a little bit colder and not as engaging. Like this, he's a warm, friendly guy here, right? When we watch,
it seems like a different person, really.
Agreed.
you know. But I think that's interesting because I remember growing up, and I was just maybe 15 or something, and there was a guy in the local scene who was like the big time illusion guy.
Right.
Like, I can't remember his darn name, but he had like a mountain of Wellington illusions and road cases, you know. But
Stuff.
he got good, and the reason why is he could afford to hire a director, someone to sit back and be a director. So not everyone could afford that kind of thing.
Right.
But what's happened is technology has advanced so that now, you know, if you can be objective, right, you can record yourself and then objectively watch yourself and direct yourself. So it's harder.
True.
Not everyone can do it.
That's
but
right.
I think it's
A lot of people are
real
uncomfortable
powerful
just-
thing.
A lot of people are uncomfortable just hearing their own voice on like a tape recording, right? Like, like
Right.
it's excruciating to like listen to it. But if you can overcome that, I mean, that's how I got good in the beginning. Was just I was doing it with just a video camera, and I bought like a cheap light, and in my living room, when I would practice, I would record all of my practice sessions. And then at the end of the practice session, I spent time watching the video to say what's working, what's not, and try to improve a little bit each time, so that it's the work is getting something for it. I'm getting.
We're off top. I'm sorry, we're off topic.
Oh,
but
it's okay.
What's really important is like that coin routine I did a couple weeks back.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I can't tell you how many times I videoed it and watched it. Right.
Right,
And
right.
what ends up happening is it's not just that you see the bad things, right, but then you see the really good things.
Totally.
And then that gives you more confidence, right, to feel like, hey, this part's really good. Like, I think that's as powerful as finding the mistakes or the rough spots and smoothing them over. It's seeing the parts where you're just like, wow, that looks really good. And that makes you feel like, wow, I've got this, I can do this, and that's important.
And
Because sometimes we work on these things for a long ass time.
that's right. And sometimes those little tiny moments that are perfect, sometimes they get another little touch where you can slow things down, right? You can accent the fact that these things are as good as they are, but it just comes through that process of just constantly looking and not being satisfied, just constantly looking at things better, and just, raise the bar all the time. And again, to go back to where we started with this whole thing, I think that that's exactly what Darwin was doing with this stuff. And it shows, this magic is just stronger. He's more of an engaged guy. You want to be around a likable guy now. Before it was like, he's sort of like a con man that's showing us the stuff from the underbelly of what the world is. Right now, it's
Right.
like, I used to do this stuff in another world, but now I'm an entertainer. Let's hang out. Let me show you guys some cool stuff. It's like, it's like you said a moment ago, he's like a different guy. It's good. I love it.
Yeah, it's good.
Right.
I love it. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's go on to this next one. This one's more of a straightforward looking card trick or card magic thing that you would probably be more accustomed to, but some great twists in here. And again, I think, this material, he's elevated just the effects, and they're different effects. It's taking familiar ideas that you've seen before, but turning them on their ear and making something new and magical. This is really good. Let's check it out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask you to help me by taking that pen that's on the table and taking these 4 aces that I am going to give you, and I want you to write your initials on the face of each one in real large letters so even the people in the back can see it easily. Meanwhile, while they're doing that, I'm going to ask.
Don't get any ink on my mat.
Exactly.
See, I should explain. Go ahead, you continue. I should explain. The reason I created this is when I did the NBC TV special Unmasked about 2 years ago, which is now playing on the Learning Channel, where I demonstrated various methods of cheating in a gambling casino, it occurred to me that some of the viewers might not fully appreciate what they were seeing simply because they don't play the various games. So that's why I created this demonstration of sleight-of-hand card cheating techniques that I think should be easy to follow, even for those of you who don't play blackjack, baccarat, Caribbean stud, or pai-gow poker, or any of the standard casino card games. I'm going to ask this gentleman if you could step up for a second or lean forward and take any card that you'd like. I'll keep going. It's anyone that you want. And would you, you can sit down and look at it. Would you step up for a second and take a card, look at it? Anyone that you want. I'm going to ask you to do the same thing, Robin. I'll keep going until you see one that you like. It's anyone you want, but please remember the card. Gentleman with the glasses, would you step up here? Take any card you want, anyone at all. Look at it, hold it up to your glasses so I can get a reflection. You've memorized your card. You can show it to the people behind you if you want for them to help you remember it. But don't you forget your cards yourself. Okay, I think that's good enough. Because otherwise, I'll be going to a lot of work for nothing. But he's got his own card, Robin. He can't help you remember your card.
We'd work together.
Yeah, I see who does all the work, too. Don't forget the cards. You can see I've placed them, buried them in 4 widely separated parts of the deck. But in a game, they keep things honest by giving the cards a cut. Now, the 4 cards that they selected are going to be important. But they're not going to be the most important cards. The most important cards are going to be these 4 cards. The 4 aces, which will go on the table in full view. In fact, Patty, as an added precaution against cheating, I'm going to use an old gambler's technique for preventing palming at gin rummy. They will place a pen or a pencil across the stock to prevent palming off cards. And as a final precaution, Patty, you're going to be the eye in the sky. It'll be your job to watch the aces. So, well, we'll find out. I'll jump to conclusions here. So that if I approach the ace, or if I get near the ace, if I reach for the aces, you can warn the pit bosses. They look like a pretty mean bunch. Now, since the 4 cards they selected were lost in 4 widely separated parts of the deck, if I could, by just riffling the deck like that, cause those 4 cards to jump, each of their, see, it was you, and you, cause each of their cards to jump to my pockets. Do you think that would be a pretty good card trick, Amanda?
Yes.
Be far too easy for somebody with my skill. Patty, watch the aces. Because the average person has some idea of what a card cheat is up against if he tackles a gambling casino, but they have no idea what a gambling casino is up against if it gets hit by a world-class card cheat. What card did you pick?
Queen of Hearts.
The Queen of Hearts. Your card was the?
King of Diamonds.
The King of Diamonds. You chose?
Jack of Clubs.
Jack of Clubs. And your card was the?
5 of Spades.
5 of Spades.
That's beautiful.
Great, right? Just
Yeah, that's
home run.
really beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's such a wonderful piece of
Yeah.
magic. Very
I think I know what I was looking at there, and I can't believe that's what I was looking
right. And
You
did
know
you
what I mean?
notice that he had a mistake in there on purpose, right? At
Yeah.
the end, like he didn't have it was over here. And it was like,
at. Yeah.
well, just a little bit to make him just a little bit more down to earth and a little bit more human at that moment where he could have been perceived as the real jerk, right? But he leaves it at the, it's magical. And you don't think anything about him as a human other than, wow, that was great. I think that's
It was just, I think like in this set that we're seeing here, that obviously it's all part of the same day or something,
Sure.
I think he's just really engaged with the people. And when that happens, you get a wide berth with people, and it's not as heavy as when you're kind of in a challenge mode.
right. And I think of the material from the first 2 major collections, they had a lot of challenge elements that were sort of just built into the presentations.
Right.
I think he's like I was saying before, he's doing the same thing we're doing right now. I think he was watching all this stuff and analyzing all that and saying, how can I improve? Right. Just like any good artist, he just wants to be better. And I think all those things telegraph, if you're watching closely enough, you can see those little things, you can feel them. And I think he did that very thing. Boy, what wonderful magic this is. I'm just,
Really.
all of it, everything we've seen so far has just been like, wow, so good.
Yeah.
So let's look at this next one. This is a classic of magic that all of us do. All of us do in some way or another. We've all touched this, even if it's just a phase of this routine. We've played with something here, but it's interesting to see how a professional handles this piece of magic. Here we go. Let's check this out.
I'll show you a method of cheating at cards that allows you to deal yourself virtually any card you want in a game. As I spread through these cards, Patty, I would like you to touch the back of one card, but make it a card near the middle of the deck. So Patty, touch any card you want from around the middle of the deck. This one right here, which is the 2 of diamonds. Would you take the pen, write your initials right there at that end of the 2 of diamonds? Yep.
Okay.
And write them big. But okay, well, why don't you even put a circle around them, make them real big. That's terrific. That's a heart, but we'll go into geometry during the break, okay?
This is the nose.
We'll leave that 2 of diamonds. Trust her for a second. We'll leave the 2 of diamonds in the center of the deck, buried. So it's not near the bottom or the top. But if I want to deal that 2 of diamonds to myself in a game, let's give the deck a little shake and I can deal it off the top of the deck. I'm going to take that 2 of diamonds, put it back where it started, in the middle, I mean, roughly in the middle. But a moment later, I can deal it off the top of the deck. I'm going to take the 2 of diamonds. I'm going to take that 2 of diamonds. I'm going to leave it jutting over the front of the deck so that you can see it go into the center, but did you see it come to the top? I'm going to do something that I would never do in a game. I'll bury the 2 face up. So this time the 2 goes face up in the center, but if I just shake the cards, I can see I'm going to have to slow this down for you. This time it'll be as slow as an instant replay on a casino surveillance monitor. I'm going to take the 2 of diamonds that has Patty's initials on it. I'll bury it at least halfway down in the deck. I'll square up the cards very meticulously, and I'll Amanda, would you put your finger against that card, push it the rest of the way in? Thank you. So, of course, the 2 of diamonds cannot be on top yet. But a moment later, I can deal it off the top of the deck. People sometimes ask me whether I can control the 2 of diamonds to second or third from the top so that I can deal it to one of the other players in a game. So this last time, I will do exactly that. I'll control the 2 of diamonds to second from the top in such a way that you'll know the moment it arrives. And remember, the card has Patty's initials on it, so it's easy to identify. I'll even bury it a little further down in the deck, and we're going to need 2 cards from a different deck of cards. You can see that they're both jokers. Would you take a look at this joker? And you can pick it up. I mean, look at it as in, examine it, check it out. The rest of you, while they're doing that, can watch as I push the 2 of diamonds the rest of the way into the deck. Would you drop the 2 of diamonds face up on top? Face up. That was a brand new card when I handed it to you. This way, you can see that there is nothing between the jokers. There is nothing between them now, but there is now.
Pretty sweet.
It's pretty sweet.
I love it. I love when people take the ambitious card and make it about something else.
Totally. And then that ending is just a perfect ending for that.
Yeah, that seems like a separate trick in and of itself.
That's Bill Goldman's
brought
trick.
in.
Yeah. Sometimes it's available, sometimes it's not. It's called Monkey in the Middle. It's really it was a really great thing. In the 90s, it was like one of those things you couldn't keep in stock. You know, magicians were buying it all over the place. It's a great trick and a great ending to this ambitious card routine.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And I'm with you. I love it when someone takes the ambitious card name about something that, and then it comes back to the top, and then it comes back to the top, right? If you can give it something else, some wrinkle, something to make them care about it, so it's not just watch how skillful I am. I think it just elevates the whole thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he did that very thing. I think this is great. This is
I love this set right here that we're seeing.
Yeah, it's just strong stuff, right?
Yeah, but it's so much more than that. It's just really you know, I don't want to say engaged again, but it's like it's just a different guy, you know. It's just
another evolution of this guy. Yeah, and I would encourage those that are into this. Darwin kept going. There's still more stuff that he's putting out. You know, I encourage you, a lesson card artistry or card magic. Hang on, let me take it for a second, Steve. I'll grab the other book, the newest one.
I don't have anything to say except how awesome he was. Doc Ethan, why don't you jump on here so I have someone to talk to?
Lessons in Card Mastery.
Alex
this is a newer one.
Oh, look at you.
This is the stuff that's even beyond this, right? So Scams and Fantasies is the stuff we're looking at now. And this is the book that came after. So it continues.
Look at these books. Look at the size of these books.
They're serious tomes. I mean, think about the tricks that we've just watched, what it takes to explain them, right? You need a serious book to explain these things.
That is serious amount of paper there.
Yeah, no doubt. But I'm a super fan of Darwin. I think it's awesome. And he's taking on new skills, elevating obviously all the presentation stuff as we're seeing here. So if this stuff is tickling you, I highly recommend that you keep going and go get that new Darwin Ortiz book, or it's the newest of them. I'm pretty sure it's in the store. You get CC cash. Go check it out. So let's look at this last piece. This last piece, I picked this as a closer for us on purpose because I know it's an effect that's near and dear to your heart, Steve. And it's interesting because Darwin uses this trick to close out the set. And I'm just interested in your reaction and, you know, the little touches that he has on this. Because I know this is a trick that you love and that you do all the time. So let's take a look.
Uh-oh, what is it?
Been great in helping. In addition to each giving you a deck of cards, I want to give you all a special souvenir. Oh, that's not it. But I thought it would be more meaningful if the three of us created the souvenir together, okay? I want you to stop me as I riffle down the side of the deck. I'll keep going. Whenever you want, you say stop. I'll try and stop at that point, okay?
Okay.
So you stop me whenever you wish.
Stop.
Already, okay? That's going to be your card. Okay. I want you to take that pen, sign your name on the face of the card in real large letters, real big all the way from one end to the other. You might even underline it or something to make it as big as, that's great. Thank you, and you know, this does not wash off. I'll have a reminder for the next.
Your souvenir.
A black mark that I'll always associate with Amanda. How romantic. But actually, it is an important point that it doesn't wash off. That's very important that you realize once it has dried, it does not rub off. For the time being, we'll place Amanda's four of clubs aside, and now it's going to be your turn. I want you to say stop as did I say pick up the pen? You can pick up the pen. I just want to establish who's in charge here. I'm starting to feel my grip loosen here. Say stop whenever you want as I riffle down the side of the deck.
Stop.
Right there. That's as close as I could to where you said.
Okay.
Okay. I want you to take that pen and sign your name on the face of your card in real large letters. And I'm left-handed too, so.
I know. Should I do it this way?
And I'm not letting go of these cards because I don't trust
he's
you.
really not.
In your world, that's a straight line? Or?
Exactly.
The point is now, but again, this is important that this does not, once it's dry, does not rub off, just like the signature on Amanda's card does not rub off. Next time you see that seven of diamonds, you'll know it has to be yours because it has your signature on it, just like you signed yours. There's no way you're not going to recognize that the next time you see it. And remember, it does not rub off, just like on the other card, it does not rub off. I'm going to place the two cards back to back and in perfect alignment. Let's get this out of the way. I want you to hold out your left hand over here like that, would you? Maybe, no, lift it up a little bit though, because I'm going to ask you to place your hand on top of these two cards. I'm sorry, the other hand. I always get my hands confused.
Me too.
Place them, left-handed people do that. Place your hand straight down, because I'm left-handed. Anyway, place it straight down so that you don't spread the cards, okay?
Okay.
Now, you know how Superman can squeeze a lump of coal and turn it into a diamond? I'm going to try something similar with these cards because I am going to attempt to alter the molecular structure of those two cards and fuse them into one. And to make it more of a challenge, I'm going to do it through Patty's hand. Don't worry, Patty, it won't hurt much. Should have done it. Patty, would you lift your hand up slowly? Now, Patty, would you feel for everyone and verify for everyone that there is only one card in my hand? Is that only one card in my hand?
There is only one card in his hand.
Patty, would you turn over that card, look at the other side, and show it to everyone? Show it to them, too. One card only. Thank you. Now, I do want to give you both a souvenir. There are two of you, and there's only one card. I mean, now there's only one card. So I'm going to call on my Solomon-like wisdom to solve this problem. I want you to have this card as a souvenir and as proof that you did witness magic on a subatomic level. And Patty, I know that you would have preferred a diamond, but unfortunately, my superpowers only extend to playing cards. That's right, you got 3.5 of them. And she's so easy to please. You get the deck of cards too. Thank you for helping me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Did you see that reaction?
They loved it. They were astonished. They
Why
saw real
are you
magic.
not doing this?
It's great.
Am I right?
Great.
Why are you not doing anniversary waltz? Why?
That show that he had in there was pretty great, huh? Where he can show both sides, flip it over, show the other side. I'd never seen
Yeah.
that before. That's really
I've never seen that before.
it's good.
I like, little changes to it, but it's the same overall structure.
Yeah.
And it's just a fantastic trick. And I think I shouldn't say I think anything about everybody, but I think people are afraid that it exposes a gimmick because
I've heard people say that about this.
and it's so obvious, not obvious, but to people, they've never seen anything like that. They don't even know it exists. They wouldn't know what to do with it if they found it. So when those two cards come together like that, the most logical thing for them to think is somehow you made those two cards meld together.
Glued them together, you melted them together.
I mean, that's what they're thinking right there.
Agreed.
And I'm telling you, this is so powerful, this trick.
Totally. And those reactions, that tells you how powerful it is.
I mean,
right?
you saw that woman and she, it's pretty strong. It's like Chicago opener. I mean, if you're not doing Chicago opener, it's like, what are you doing? If you're working for real people,
Right.
Right. Is this pre-anniversary waltz? No, Lou, I don't think it is. I think it's his twist on it.
He calls this one Ultimate Fusion, and it was him taking fusing the two cards together plot and applying the Darwin Ortiz method to it, right? So it's his handling of that plot. Totally.
Yeah. So great though, man. I mean, it's just one of those things that everyone should work it up and go do it for a little while. And I think pretty soon you'll be like, why am I not doing this?
Especially for doing walk around magic, right? It seems like a plug and play kind of trick for walk around magic.
It's not hard.
It's not hard. And it's an instant 5 minutes that's going to get you like reactions, right? It's going to get you all the stuff you're after when you're doing walk around.
Well, what I look for in stuff like this is it doesn't look like any other card trick they've ever heard about.
Right.
It's not like, hey, I picked a card and then he found it.
Right.
It's
I
like,
picked the card, I signed it,
picked
and then he put it on the table.
Yeah, like I picked the card, she picked the card. Somehow they fused together in my hand. It's like this whole different thing. It's not even a card trick anymore.
That's right. And what a great story that is, if it's just those two sentences that you just said, right? Like that's a legend.
Right. It's a legend. Exactly. She picked the card, I picked the card. Next thing they fused together in my hand. People would be like, huh?
No, really, it happened. Here's the piece of card I have.
Yeah. And I put that, he ripped it in half. Here's my half.
Yeah.
People would be like,
and you know how it goes with those things. Like, I don't do anniversary waltz, but anytime you have a card selected or it's an odd back or weird thing, and it's a really personalized thing, they're really involved in the magic, they keep that thing. They shove it in their wallet. They carry it around with them. I've had people bump into me like shopping and they go, hey, you're the guy, look. And they open up their wallet and they go, look, I've got it still. So
me too.
It affects them heavily, man. Don't discount it.
Exactly. Do not discount it. I mean, if you really, if you really can connect with people and do something mind blowing, especially in their hand, they keep it forever.